Warning: economic collapse of 2020. According to reports from the marketplace, nowadays the leading economic indicator isn't about manufacturing or the stock market. Today's economy is dictated by a virus. It's official. The world is hit again by a new global recession. While some experts claim that businesses might be able to jump back as quickly as they shut down, there are signs that the 2020 global recession might be worse and will take longer to recover. So, in this economic climate, are you ready? Because today we will talk about the economic collapse of 2020. But before that, please do us a favor. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so we can keep you updated on all the latest financial tips and trends. Now, let's go over the warning signs. Experts forecasted that the 2020 global recession might be the worst since World War II. Current forecasts suggest that the coronavirus global recession will be the deepest since World War II, with the largest fraction of economies experiencing declines in per capita output since 1870. Output of emerging market and developing economies, EMDEs, is expected to contract in 2020 for the first time in at least 60 years. Because the market has become so unstable, there have been contradicting reports as to how deep economies are falling behind and how long it will take for the market to recover. In fact, there are warning signs that are pretty much hard to miss. For example, in June 2020, the National Bureau of Economic Research claimed that this is the most severe economic recession in nearly a century. What's more concerning is that they believe the recession can last for years. And that might be true. For example, in the 2008 recession, it took more than a year for the economy to recover. Now, the difference between 2008 and today's economic collapse is that it doesn't just cover banks and the real estate industry. It covers almost all aspects of economic growth. Whether it's manufacturing, retail, unemployment, all are pretty much affected by the virus. And it isn't just one country struggling to keep its economy afloat. It's a global domino effect. To perfectly sum this up, Kenneth Rogoff, a Harvard economics professor, said, "I feel the 2008 financial crisis was just a dry run for this." So, what are the warning signs that the economic collapse is much worse than we originally thought? Retail industry. While the retail industry was able to stay afloat during past recessions, the 2020 global economic collapse was a different story. To point this out, we've seen a dip in retail sales in March and April, its lowest since 1992. This might signal huge trouble, since the retail industry was considered one of the foundations of the US economy. Along with its losses, meant that millions of people are going to lose their jobs as well. The truth is, even household name brands aren't immune to the economic collapse. In fact, major players in the retail industries have been taking major hits. Zara announced that they are going to close down as many as 1,200 stores worldwide. That's equal to 16% of the company's global outlets. In June 2020, another retail giant, Gap, announced that they have lost $1 billion from store closures which were prompted by the coronavirus. Banana Republic, one of Gap's brands, isn't doing well either, as people are choosing to buy more casual clothes. The US retail giants aren't alone. Italy's textile production is also at a standstill. Because of the casualties, there are very few signs that the economy will recover after a devastating coronavirus outbreak. In fact, the Wall Street Journal has reported that foreign buyers are canceling their orders. Now, this isn't just impacting Italy. The ripple effect is felt across the entire global supply chain. Along with it, manufacturers and even accessory makers can be and are affected too. Industrial production. Another more alarming sign is that the coronavirus has affected industrial production. This covers a large portion of the blue-collar sector in the US, which includes manufacturing, mining, as well as electric and gas utilities. If this isn't alarming enough, industrial production hit new lows in March, which signals the largest decline since the end of World War II in 1945. The industrial sector was hit among the hardest due to the coronavirus. That's because factories have had to close down in fears of spreading even more infection. While the industrial sector can recover as soon as the economy reopens, This goes to show just how bad the economic collapse really is. Employment. This is arguably the most heartbreaking effect of the economic collapse. As of June 5, 2020, the national unemployment rate was over 13%, with some states up to 20%. That's because, with the economic shutdown, businesses can't reopen and they are forced to lay people off. In April alone, around 20.5 million people lost their jobs. And economists expect to see an additional 8.3 million in May. So when we are talking about the economic collapse, we are dealing with millions and millions of people lining up for their employment claim. The situation is a massive contrast from the all-time unemployment rate in the US in 2019. This means that since the collapse, the US and other countries are relying on a small percentage of its population to keep it afloat. The data becomes confusing due to how quickly it changes. For example, the employment sector showed signs of rebounding in May. Sadly, experts believe that this increase is just a misclassification effort and not really a sign of economic recovery. Consumer confidence. Another important economic indicator is consumer confidence. This talks about how much people are willing to spend or save. Right now, people are feeling a bit more thrifty. In fact, households are really nervous to spend money and are less likely to take risks because of the economic climate. If people are buying less, then it would take longer for businesses to recover their loss. That's because consumer spending makes up roughly 2/3 of global economic activity. The more anxious people are with their spending, the less economic expansion there will be. With stores closing down, jobs that are lost, social distancing, and multiple industries that were severely affected, experts believe that it would take years for economies to recover. That's because economic recovery isn't just about money and businesses. It also boils down to people's anxieties. Charles Dumas, chief economist at T.S. Lombard, an investment research firm out of London, explained that the psychology won't just bounce back. Dumas believes that the economic collapse can also change behavior patterns. And while the economy will eventually recover, it might take a long time. So, how long will the global recession last? Let us know what you think in the comments below.